Imagine dropping your child off at school in the morning. A normal day. A routine you've followed countless times before. You help them put on their uniforms. You remind them to pay attention in class. You watch them walk through the school gates. And then you continue with your day, believing they are safe. But on that day, in Oyo State, something unimaginable happened. What began as an ordinary school day suddenly became every parent's worst nightmare. Armed abductors stormed the school. Panic erupted. Teachers tried to protect their students. Confusion spread across the compound. And within moments, children and their teachers were taken away. Away from their classrooms. Away from their families. Away from safety. For the families left behind, life would never be the same again. Hours passed, then days, then weeks. Families searched desperately for answers. Phones remained within arm's reach at all times. Every incoming call brought a surge of hope and fear. Every rumor sparked fresh anxiety. Every night became a little longer. Every morning began with the same painful question. Have they been found? At the time of this recording, these children remain missing. Their whereabouts remain unknown. Their condition remains unknown. And while families continue to wait for answers, another question quietly emerges. A question doctors and psychologists often ask whenever children experience prolonged trauma. What happens inside a child's brain when safety suddenly disappears? For most children, the brain develops in an environment built around safety. Family, school, friends, routine, predictability. These things may seem ordinary, but to a child's developing brain, they are essential. Children learn who they are and how the world works through repeated experiences. A familiar home, a familiar classroom, familiar faces. These create a sense of security, and that security becomes the foundation upon which learning, memory, emotional regulation, and healthy relationships are built. But what happens when that foundation suddenly collapses? What happens when a child no longer knows where they are? Or what will happen next? Or when they will see their family again? The answer begins deep inside the brain. Deep inside the brain sits a small structure called the amygdala. Think of it as the brain's emergency alarm system. Its job is simple: detect danger, keep you alive. The moment a child perceives a threat, the amygdala sends urgent signals throughout the body. The heart beats faster, breathing becomes rapid, muscles tighten, stress hormones flood the bloodstream. One of the most important of these hormones is cortisol. In short bursts, cortisol helps people survive dangerous situations. It increases alertness, sharpens attention, provides energy. But cortisol was never designed to remain elevated for weeks or months. So what happens when the emergency never seems to end? What happens when fear becomes a daily reality? That is where the real danger begins. Scientists studying children exposed to conflict, displacement, kidnapping, and prolonged trauma have discovered something remarkable. The developing brain adapts. But adaptation is not always healthy. When danger becomes constant, the brain may begin reorganizing itself around survival. Instead of asking, "What can I learn today?" the brain begins asking, "How do I stay safe today?" Children may become hypervigilant, constantly scanning for threats. Every sound becomes suspicious. Every movement demands attention. The brain remains on high alert, day after day, night after night. And over time, that constant state of alarm becomes exhausting. But the effects do not stop there. Fear can also affect one of the brain's most important functions: memory. Inside the brain is a structure called the hippocampus. The hippocampus plays a critical role in learning and memory. It helps us organize experiences, store information, and create lasting memories. But prolonged exposure to high levels of stress hormones can interfere with how this system functions. Children experiencing chronic stress may struggle with concentration, learning, memory formation, and emotional processing. Some memories become fragmented. Others become unusually vivid. Years later, certain sounds, smells, or places can suddenly bring painful memories rushing back. And while memory is important, there are other dangers doctors worry about when children are held in unknown conditions. Some of those dangers affect not only the brain, but the entire body. One of the first casualties of chronic fear is sleep. How does a child fall asleep when they do not feel safe? How does the brain enter deep restorative sleep while constantly anticipating danger? Sleep is when memories are organized, emotions are processed, and the body repairs itself. Without enough sleep, children may become confused, irritable, forgetful, and emotionally overwhelmed. But sleep may not be the only challenge. Doctors also worry about nutrition. Growing brains require enormous amounts of energy. Without adequate food, concentration declines, energy levels fall, the immune system weakens, learning becomes more difficult. Then there is exposure to disease. If children are being kept in overcrowded or poorly ventilated conditions, their risk of infection increases. Respiratory infections, diarrheal diseases, skin infections, malaria, typhoid fever, dehydration, any of these can become dangerous if medical care is unavailable. And there are environmental dangers as well. Cold nights can expose children to hypothermia. Extreme heat can lead to dehydration and heat-related illnesses. Untreated injuries can become infected. Simple illnesses can become serious problems. One challenge after another, one burden laid upon another, and all of it occurring during a stage of life when the body and brain should be focused on growth and development. Instead, the body is forced into survival mode. Can the effects of prolonged trauma last forever? Unfortunately, sometimes they can. Research involving survivors of kidnapping, conflict zones, and prolonged childhood trauma has shown increased risks of anxiety disorders, depression, sleep disorders, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Some individuals struggle with trust. Others experience recurring nightmares. Some remain easily startled years later. But there is another side to this story. Human beings are remarkably resilient. Many children recover with proper support, love, safety, counseling, family support, and timely intervention can make an enormous difference. The sooner healing begins, the better the chances of recovery. But before healing can begin, one thing must happen first. They must come home. And that brings us back to the question that no medical expert can answer. Where are they? At this moment, their exact whereabouts remain unknown. Are they safe? Are they receiving food? Do they have shelter? Do they have access to medical care? No one outside their captors can answer those questions with certainty. And that uncertainty may be the most painful part of all. For every passing day creates new fears, new worries, new possibilities. Families remain trapped in a different kind of captivity. The captivity of not knowing. These are not merely headlines. They are not simply numbers in a news report. They are real people, real children, real teachers, real families. Parents continue to stare at their phones hoping for good news. Families continue to pray. Communities continue to hope. Teachers who dedicated their lives to educating children remain absent from their classrooms. Children who should be learning, laughing, and planning for their futures are nowhere to be found. And every day that passes leaves another empty chair. Another unanswered question. Another family waiting. The science tells us that prolonged fear can affect the developing brain. The science tells us that chronic stress can leave lasting scars. The science tells us that uncertainty, isolation, hunger, illness, and trauma can take a heavy toll on both mind and body. But science cannot answer the question that matters most. Where are they? Because behind every headline is a face. Behind every statistic is a family. Behind every missing child is a future worth protecting. And behind every missing teacher is a community waiting for their return. As long as they remain missing, this story is not over. The search is not over. And our responsibility to remember them is not over. Bring back our teachers. Bring back our children. Bring them home. Now.